Hi everyone, this is Dr. V again. Welcome to my students and Dr. Richard's students. As I said in the first video, Dr. Richard still does not have internet access, so I will be making the first 4 videos for the first 2 weeks of us coming back through IDA. Our thoughts and prayers are with you guys. I know most of you are still trying to rebuild, and we're just trying our best here, okay? So this video is for 923 class. We are going to look at this slideshow that is linked here, Intro to Teaching, and we're going to talk about this homework. I may not make it through this entire content in 15 minutes, so it may be 2 videos linked here at the end, but that is what we are doing. Again, as I said in the first video, try not to go too far down into the rabbit hole down here, because you can see Dr. Richard's actually working on this document as we speak. This is what we call a living document. So right now we can tell you that the first 2 weeks, this is absolutely what we are going to try to get accomplished. Past that, we don't know what field experiences are going to look like. We don't know what anything will look like. So we kind of have everything outlined through the rest of the semester, but try to concentrate just on 1 or 2 weeks at a time. So right now we are doing Introduction to Teaching in Ed 250. This is usually such a fun live class, y'all. I hate that we're not live, but here we go. So we want to talk about, why in the world did you choose this field of education? For that brief pause. Okay, so why do we want to be teachers? And usually we see different answers from you guys depending on your major. So for example, I was a middle school English teacher. Sure, I wanted to be a teacher because I loved kids, but I also loved reading. I loved English language arts. So I kind of went with the middle grades because they were still young enough for me to love on them, more than high school grades. But I also went with the middle grades because I really wanted to teach ELA. I did not want to teach science and math. So you'll see, depending on what your major is, your answers to that would be different. So going through why you wanted to become a teacher leads us into your philosophy statements. So Dr. Richard and I wanted to put these few slides in here because honestly, guys, before we put this into 250, you guys did not talk about or learn about philosophy statements until you were in residency and you had to actually write your philosophy statement. So we hope that by just talking about it a little bit right now, you can start thinking about these things so that when you get in residency, you can write your philosophy statement a little bit easier. So what is this philosophy statement thing? It's a short statement that really talks about what you think in your classroom and your students, what that should look like. So what I want you to do right now is pause this video and go ahead and click on one of these links. It'll ask you to make a copy of the document that is there. So go ahead and pause me and go ahead and open up that link so that you can type in that document as we go through the next couple of slides. Okay, so hopefully you're unpaused and you have your link up and you can start to think about your philosophy statement as we go through these next slides. So here are 2 examples that I pulled off the internet that I thought were worth looking at as we start this discussion. I believe that my role as an elementary teacher is to nurture and encourage the lifelong learning of my students through hands-on activities, classroom discussion, and even the use of humor. I hope to prompt students to think creatively and explore their natural curiosity. You can see that you use the first person in philosophy statements, and you really don't want to do generalized statements. You want to talk about how your actual classroom and your students are going to look. I believe that all children are unique and have something special that they can bring to their own education. I will assist my students to express themselves and accept them for who they are, as well as embrace the differences of others. I think this came from a special education inclusion teacher, which is awesome. Okay, so how do we start to write our own philosophy statement? So on your document that you made a copy of, go ahead and write these prompts. The purpose of education is to, and students learn best by. Go ahead and pause me again, and go ahead and put your thoughts for those two prompts. Okay, so hopefully you have your document up and you have answered these two questions. I'm just going to give you examples from me, Dr. V, personally. What do I think the purpose of education is? I believe in lifelong learners, okay? So my specialty is educational technology. That is a field that changes every single day. There is no way that I could do my job and teach teachers how to use technology in the classroom if I myself wasn't a lifelong learner. So I believe the purpose of education is to get students excited about learning and to instill them a purpose of lifelong learning. So how do I think students learn best by? I will effectively say that I do not think students learn best by watching a video of myself lecturing to them. I feel that you guys learn best when you collaborate together in face-to-face settings, and we can debate things and we can really dig into the materials that way. That's how I think that my students learn best. Okay, go ahead and pause me again and transfer these three prompts underneath the first two. Okay, hopefully you have these last three statements, and let's go ahead and again use that pause button, y'all, and fill in what you think your answers for these are. The most effective method for teaching. Again, I don't think it's through a Zoom class. I don't think it's through a screencast video. I think that for me, my most effective methods for teaching is when I'm just kind of on the side facilitating y'all's learning. I don't like to lecture. That's not what I think is the most effective method of teaching. What do you think for your students? I know that these are the most effective methods for teaching because, well, I know that collaboration and me facilitating learning and not lecturing to you guys is the best way to do this, because I've had to lecture through this pandemic, through these hurricanes, through this stupid tropical storm that's coming through now. I've had to use methods that I see are not the best ways to present information for you guys. So that's how I would fill that out. How would you fill that out? And the most important aspect of my teaching is, oh, this is a personal one, y'all. Everybody's answer here is going to be different. Mine is to know your students, which is another reason why I really don't like how we're having to do this class this semester. I want to know each one of you guys. I got to know you the first couple of classes a little bit, but in order for me to really help you understand the content in this material when I am teaching, I think that the most important thing is for me to know you and to know what your career aspirations are. What are you scared of? What are you good at? What are your challenges? So that's the way I would answer that. How would you answer it? Okay, so here are this is from the textbook again. Hopefully you have been able to just read a few pages out of there. And they are talking about best practices, and you can maybe pull some of this language into your philosophy statement as you start to look at it. So the classroom is student-centered. That's what I was talking about. It's not, the focus is not on the teachers and best practices. The focus is always on the students. The students are fully engaged in learning tasks, meaning that, ooh, I'm gonna throw my child's former teacher under the bus, meaning that they are not doing IXL skills in a math classroom while the teacher grades papers. The kiddos are going to be fully engaged in whatever they are learning about. The focus of your classroom should be goal-oriented. We're going to talk about standards at the end of this slideshow and with our homework, and that is where we set our goals for the classroom work that's going on. Classroom management definitely needs to be a focus. If little Gabriel, that's my crazy son, is bouncing off the walls and distracting all of the other students, that's not going to be a good conducive learning environment for other students. Teachers use current research and analyze data. What does that mean? That means that if you get a group of third graders, you can go back to their second grade data, meaning their standardized test scores and what they went through with pandemic and hurricanes, and really look at all of the data that's available to help you plan what these students can do. And students learn and master what they are supposed to. Okay, so what can you do in your own classroom? Again, this is all going back to what is your classroom philosophy, your teaching philosophy going to be. You need to set expectations that are achievable for students. I would love that all of the juniors at Thibodeau High score a 31 on the ACT. I would absolutely love that. But you know what? That's not a realistic expectation for all students. So we need to make sure that our expectations are realistic and achievable for students, but also challenging for students. We need to make sure that our kiddos are collaborating, hopefully one day soon without masks, but collaborating among one another. And we need to make sure that we are celebrating successes. I love to tell this story every semester. I personally have a junior in high school who has learning disabilities, and he struggles for every grade. And when he was younger in elementary school, I always knew when I got a note sent home that it was something bad. Christian wasn't paying attention. Christian wasn't doing this. Christian wasn't doing that. Until he got in middle school, and I kept getting positive notes for Christian. Christian finished all of his work in the time allowed. Christian really did this well. So we want to make sure that we are celebrating the triumphs of our students and our own triumphs as we go forward. Okay, so I am at 12 minutes right now, and my video limit is 15. So I am going to stop this video right now. Make sure that you are watching both videos for today. I will be right back.